All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for now. It's episode 4, right, of the College Cinema Talk Show, and
Indeed.
we're back this time, talking about one of the greatest, the start of one of the greatest trilogies out there. The first Lord of the Rings movie, titled Fellowship of the Ring, I believe. So we just wanted to start off there, talking about this movie. And I don't know if Connor, if you wanted to, start us off with sort of
Yeah, sure.
something to your thoughts.
I mean, I'm just gonna start off by saying this is probably my favorite movie, ever. I mean, I'm gonna try and talk through this whole thing with you guys and not be biased. But it was actually one of the movies that got me interested in pursuing film as a major and a career. Just because it kind of showed me what you can do with emotion and storytelling. And I don't know, I'm just interested to see, because I know Ryan's pretty familiar with this film, but Greg, I know he hasn't really had the chance to see it, at least for a long time. So I'm interested in hearing his thoughts on this film. And it's a classic, and I'm sure a lot of people would agree. I do know some people who don't care for it, but that's mostly because of personal preference with genre and whatnot. Yeah, I'd love to get into it with you guys and see what you think.
All right, yeah. So, Greg, I just wanted to ask you. So, can you clarify? Have you seen this movie before? Before this?
Yeah, I've seen it. I guess it was close to 10 years ago.
Okay, so it was a long time ago.
Yeah, 10. Yeah, it was long enough where I think I saw it. Where it's at the point now where it's I think I've seen it. I'm almost for sure I've seen it, but it's I don't even have a memory of it. So it's basically no, I haven't. So essentially no, I have not seen it.
So you don't remember pretty much anything, right?
I don't remember anything. I just remember but I have a blurry memory because I saw The Hobbit when it came out in theaters. So I'm skewing the two things. I'm blurring together.
Yeah.
And it's just so yeah, this is the first time seeing it.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, so yeah, I mean, what did you? So I mean, I don't know. What were your initial thoughts? When it starts off, they're in. I don't want to get this wrong. They're in the Shire, right?
Yeah, I mean, you get the narration first, which gives you kind of a backstory of the world and stuff.
They have the full background of everything, right? Everything that happened with Sauron and all that stuff, and the ring.
I feel very intimidated. I'm sitting with the expert here, Lord of the Rings.
No, but Greg, what did you understand everything when you were watching that narration bit? And
I understood that. It was near the end of the movie. I was kind of a little bit a little bit on some parts.
Wow. Okay. I mean, so yeah, we'll get into that. We'll go through that, but
yeah.
I don't know. So would you say the first so for me,
let's talk about the Shire bit and everything when it's just
so for me I wrote down specifically I thought, and this is throughout the movie, I thought the music was just fantastic, and for me at least, for a big part of loving a movie and the difference between a good movie or a TV show and a great one is the music. So I felt the music was just really good throughout this whole movie pretty much.
It elevates it to a whole other level than it would have been otherwise if it had just the traditional blockbuster music and stuff.
No, yeah, I totally agree. So I don't know. So I mean, it started off pretty happy. The whole in the Shire, Gandalf's coming in, Frodo goes and greets him, and I thought it was so cool having watched the trilogy and seeing Frodo's how he progresses and emotional state.
Yeah.
It was a completely different person at the beginning to me. He was just so innocent, so happy, and
and carefree.
Yeah, it's just you just loved life. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really neat. I don't know. I thought that was really neat. And I also really liked how they kind of dropped little hints, and they were pretty obvious, but they were subtle with Bilbo and the ring at the beginning, right?
Mm-hmm. With he's patting his pocket or something like that.
Yeah, and Gandalf notices, and he also notices, he's you haven't aged a day. He said that to him.
Yeah.
He hasn't actually aged at all. I thought that was really neat. I don't know. I thought that just the whole introduction with the Shire is really cool.
Yeah. The part where Gandalf bangs his head inside the Hobbit house and stuff? that was like unintentional. Like Ian McKellen accidentally did that, and then
Oh,
it just
really?
like kept going. Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
That's funny.
Yeah,
Also,
it's-
Ian McKellen, while I'm talking about him, he is one of like the best actors in this movie. Like his eyes, you can always see like the emotion
Yes.
feeling like
Mm.
through
I was
that
thinking
beard
that
and
too.
whatnot.
I was thinking the exact same thing. Like he told a lot by his eyes, which is like really cool. And I'm always like a fan of like my favorite kind of character. Like this is like a genre that like it's like one of my favorites. Like
Okay.
kind. And my favorite like character type is like the really wise like old bearded like
Yeah, you like the Dumbledore types, Greg.
Dumbledore's my favorite character in Harry Potter, and
Yeah.
like
Yeah, he's fantastic.
I just love that like sort of character. So like I really love Ian McKellen too.
And it's cool though because he's Gandalf's like not perfect either though, you know, like
No.
he's
No.
made mistakes, and it's interesting to see like
Well,
that wise old guy with the.
Not that. Like I was actually kind of just like not disappointed, but like yeah, disappointed because like he wasn't as like powerful as like he would seem from the beginning. Like he
Really?
carried a sword around and like instead of like using magic. And I don't
Did you
know.
see what he did at the end?
I know I saw that. But,
Oh,
like,
that was
where
that
was
strength.
that in the other scenes?
Yeah,
I don't know. I
mean,
don't know if he needed it in the other scenes. Maybe. I
It
don't
would
know.
have helped.
I think that
Maybe.
like, I mean, if you read the books and you like watch The Hobbit and all the movies and stuff, like magic is being a wizard isn't like so much about the magic, you know, like they don't really use it to fight and stuff like that. I mean, he used it with Saruman because it was like a duel and stuff like that. But I don't think that they would. I think that it also takes away focus from the story because it's not about like the wizards and the magic part so much. And to me, the magic in the Lord of the Rings is a lot more subtle. Like the ring itself, it's kind of a magic thing on its own, and it has this influence over people. And I think it's more about like the subtle things and like the like blasting orcs away or something like that. I mean, I can understand people have that perspective a lot. They're like, oh, why didn't Gandalf use his magic more often? And I don't know. I think it's just wizards are not really supposed to interfere with goings-ons and stuff.
Well, even still, like they didn't overdo it, right? Because I mean, what like he's clearly really strong. Like when he fought off that demon at the end. So I don't know. I feel like if they just had him use his magic the whole time, it would have been I don't know. Maybe it would have been overused.
Cheap to me because you're like you want to see that action and stuff like that. You know.
I mean, yeah, you have like all the other characters like that we'll talk about later, but
yeah, I see that.
They have to get their action as well. But
I do understand your point of view, though, Greg. I understand.
I think there's a medium though, and I think it was like lighter than it even could have been. Like, I don't know.
Maybe what I thought was really cool, like just straight from the beginning, was just being able to see like the influence of the ring. Because we got introduced to Smeagol, right, in the background, I believe. I believe they brought him up about and he lived for 500 years and everything. Smeagol or Gollum, I guess either one works. But yeah, I thought it was really cool just seeing the influence it had over Bilbo.
Yeah.
Just at the beginning when like he even calls it like his precious.
Yeah.
That was creepy.
Yeah, I know.
He's like yelling at Gandalf about like, how, he's like you want to try and steal it from me and stuff like.
And then Gandalf got mad.
Yeah,
like,
and like the room got dark and like,
he's like, I'm no wizard with just like parlor tricks. Like
yeah.
I thought that was neat. And then I also thought it was cool though how like tempted Gandalf was. You could see it. You could see him fighting it off for a while.
And you can see that temptation with a lot of characters too. Like I know Boromir is like a big character who was tempted by the ring, but you could even see it with like Galadriel, you know, that like elf lady when they go to the like she wanted to take it too. And also with like Aragorn, like towards the end, like he was the ring was like calling his name when he's like, and he decides to let Frodo go because he like kind of overcomes it, you know.
So I have a question on that. What exactly like is so like enticing about the ring? Does it make you powerful? Because like he wasn't able to wield any power from using the ring. It only caused like just like him to be invisible.
I think that's what Connor's talking about.
Like
the magic.
Your mind.
It draws you to it. That's its like magic thing, right? So it tries to
drives you mad and
draws people in.
Sort of like it has an evil like presence to it. So even if you're not an evil person, it kind of drives you to do bad things, you know.
You know
Like
what it
in
reminded me of? It reminded me of the Horcrux in the necklace in Harry Potter.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Horcrux, I would say.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Gandalf even mentioned, I think he said, like, I would wield this ring with the intention of doing good, but
Yeah.
at the end, like,
But through him, the ring,
would do evil. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Which I thought that was a really good good
Like the
line.
more powerful the
Person.
the being or person that has the ring, like the more like capability of destructive, like
Well,
for
yeah.
destruction there
I mean,
is, you know?
imagine that elvish lady or Gandalf with the ring. They'd be
Yeah.
like crazy
Yeah.
powerful. And I
Which
also
is why
thought it was
that's why it's important for like a character like a hobbit or a person like a hobbit to be the one to carry the ring, because they're typically you know,
harmless.
they don't, yeah, and they're less
Oh.
influenced. They're more kind of like meek and whatnot. Yeah, and there's this kind of theme of like men being really susceptible to like corruption and stuff like that. I mean, it's more prevalent in the sequels and stuff, but
Yeah. But yeah, so I also like I just thought that whole like ring influence was really neat. And even when like Frodo came to Gandalf, like I think it must have been like at least minutes or hours later, Gandalf's just sitting in there, and Frodo like starts talking to him like, "Where's Bilbo?" And like Gandalf
he's
just
like
can't even like
meditating.
respond to him. Yeah, he's still like thinking. Yeah, I thought that was I just thought that was cool.
And Gandalf says there, he says precious like really quietly too. Like,
I think did he? That's
yeah,
so
he
cool.
says precious. Yeah.
Wow.
Gandalf says it?
Yeah, when he's like sitting by the fire when Frodo comes back.
Oh, he's like
yeah.
Wow. But yeah, so I thought that was all really neat, and I don't know. I thought it was cool because these first like what I wrote down is the first three like parts of this or there were like themes of this movie, and I thought that they broke them up by like emotion almost. Like I wrote down like the first part was very like just happy and fun and like upbeat for the most part, and then the second part was more like just like dark and like fear like fear was like a big thing, and the third one was
you mean
more
with
like
the Black Riders and whatnot?
yeah, like the wraiths, whatever, like the ring wraiths. Yeah. And then the third one was like when they were all like when they went to the Elvish place and they found them all, and they all like pledged to help Frodo. I was like, that's like the upbeat part. I thought that was kind of cool. Like they just very
it's like up and down.
I thought that was
a lot of shrieking noise with those black.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What did you think of those characters, Greg?
I thought they were scary.
Yeah.
I was very scared. And no, I actually had a question. Like those were like the kings that they showed in the beginning with the rings, right?
Yes, they were.
Which is not.
They don't clearly state that, but that's like what's implied basically.
I think they kind of did state that, didn't they?
They did kind of. But what was the deal with the ring? Like those rings? Like were those rings powerful?
So the way it works is like so they had rings, right? And then there were like 3 elvish rings and 7 dwarvish rings. And then Sauron, the bad guy, created like the one ring of power, and it basically gave him the ability to like influence anybody who had any of the other rings of power, basically. And so and since men are like the most susceptible, they were the ones who were like influenced to become his servants, sort of, and like, yeah.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they were scary though. I think they did a good job with that though.
Yeah.
I thought they did a good job introducing Aragorn too. I didn't realize it was him at first.
Oh really? Yeah, because he's kind of like you think
I was like, who is this?
He might be a bad guy. He's like a stranger in the corner.
Yeah,
you know?
They made him look so like. But I knew it. It was one of those things where you just could call it. You're like, okay, you take out the sword for no reason, just to scare everybody, and then for no reason, you just gotta put it away. Like.
Yeah. Yeah.
I will say.
Go ahead, Ryan. No, you go ahead.
Okay, I was gonna kind of say something else. So I think you should, if you're still.
I was just saying. I think without actually having a plan for what I was saying, I was gonna think. Like I didn't have any words to follow it up, so I think you should just go.
Anyway, so what I was gonna say is during that whole time when Aragorn was in that corner, I believe Frodo put on the ring right when.
Yeah, because that's the first time he puts it on too.
And I thought that was cool, like the slow, like. I'll get into that in a second. But anyway, he put on the ring, and what I was gonna say is, when he puts the ring on and he sees like he's almost in like a whole other dimension. It seems
he's like in a wraith. He's like in a wraith world, sort of.
What was strange to me is I don't remember that being the case in like The Hobbit with Bilbo and like. I don't remember that happening with like a lot of the other like times.
I think that has. I mean, I don't know. They made The Hobbit after this, so it could be, it could just be a lack of like care on the filmmaker's part later when they made The Hobbit to like actually make it the same, or it could be something to do with the fact that like, oh, Sauron's back now and like he's like he has power rather when in the Hobbit.
Oh, I see.
You know,
I mean,
it was.
I was thinking maybe it was like they got or Frodo like gets used to that whole route because like they just really show them walking invisibly from there on out in like movies after, I feel like, right? So maybe they get used to walking in that sort of, I don't know.
I don't really remember him putting on the ring again until
I just remember putting on the ring at the end. Yeah.
Yeah, until the third movie.
But
So
like,
yeah, you're right. They don't really show that world again, but so maybe it has
Mhm.
something to do a little bit more with like just his experience, like putting the ring
Maybe.
on and stuff.
I guess it was supposed to show like the like uh, just his like the whole fear of, I guess, all the whole Sauron stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of fear, there's one scene that I wanted to talk about, which is when like they run into Pippin in like the cornfield, and then they like stealing the vegetables, and then they tumble down like the cliff
Oh.
together. And then Frodo's like, I think we should get off the road, and then they do that like zoom in thing, and he's like, get off the road, and they like jump off and under the tree, and that's when they first encounter like a ring wraith. And I think that scene is like, it's like so suspenseful if you like haven't seen the movie before and you're like, what is this creepy crazy thing, and you're like, what's gonna happen to these hobbits?
And they had, like,
it's
funny
like I just thought it was really well done, that whole scene right there. You know,
Wait, and it was well done. What I have a question about, like, does like the ring give them powers, like when they're like doing evil for like serving, like what's the guy's name again? The overall bad guy.
Sauron.
Sauron.
Like, did the guy, like the black like horse riders, like, do their rings like give them power or not?
I think I thought the point of the rings was it just corrupted them. I thought that was what the point of that was.
Yeah, I think it's more like the power. It doesn't give them power of like body so much as like power of will. It's like you feel so compelled to do this thing that you won't stop, achieve it basically.
And Greg,
I don't think they're any stronger than a regular man, or
they're not
or any faster or anything like that. I think it's just that they're kind of undead, so it's you can't kill them,
right.
But what I always thought of it in regards to like the actual ring was that, obviously if you put it on Frodo, he's not going to have like a bunch of powers. But if you put it on like Gandalf or someone with actual, magic and stuff, I always maybe I'm wrong. I always thought that the ring would just like enhance his like magic or make it like stronger. Make it, like, more,
or make it more
that's how
evil.
yeah. I mean, right. So that was always my thought process.
Makes sense.
There was also one scene that I wanted to talk about, which I thought was it was really strange to me because, and I'm kind of jumping here. I believe it was when they were remember they had a fire, Sam and what was it, Pippin and was it Mary?
And when Frodo was sleeping, yeah,
they had like the fire and they were like making like food or something over it.
Yeah.
And Frodo's like, put that out, like put it out quickly. Yeah. I swear to you, the way that scene happened, I thought he was like having a nightmare or something. I didn't think it was like I didn't think it was actually real. I literally wrote down, I'm like, this has to be a dream, right? There was no way. I thought for some reason the way it was set up, it was so abrupt. And I was like, wait, like they would be that dumb to like light a fire with like after they've already seen the ring race.
They've never been in a situation like that before. You know what I mean? Like they've never been like hunted by something or like trying to hide. So I just think that they probably didn't think about it, especially because like Merry and Pippin aren't the smartest.
They're so annoying. I found them so annoying.
Really?
I mean, like I liked them, like they were sweet, but it was just like in those times I was just like,
yeah. I mean, they don't really add anything to the company in this first movie. Later they do, but I think it's just to give it a sort of like a lighter feel, because without characters like would be a lot darker of a movie, I think. And they do sort of like save Frodo from being captured at the end too, when they're like distracting the Uruk-hai at the very end.
And they play a role in the other two movies as well. Like they're right. I mean they have their own roles. But what
I can understand being annoyed slightly.
I just thought, did no one else think that scene was like? Did you all know that was real? Like the first, like at like the whole time.
I did. I felt like it was pretty natural. Like,
Okay. Like Aragorn showed up so late. He was just all the race just went right past him.
what do you mean?
Like remember I believe he said he was gonna go on like I think it was like some like he was going on like a lookout or something. Before that.
Yeah.
And then the race like all show up and all like they sit and then like Frodo gets stabbed and then Aragorn shows up. I was like,
Well, because he was off, and then like maybe Frodo fell asleep for what, like I don't know, 10 minutes. I could have started cooking
maybe.
something.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know how long Aragorn would have been gone.
What happened with the stabbing? How did he get better so quickly?
Oh,
Like, he
because
was
the head elf.
Yeah,
guy.
it was Elvish medicine. Yeah,
Okay.
they
So
had
it was
Hugo
like-
Weaving take care of him.
I think Elvish is a funny word.
Elvish.
Yeah,
I just think the
Elvish.
whole premise of the elves are cool. Like they can live forever outside of like war.
yeah.
It's kind of neat. And Connor,
What did you guys think of like Saruman as a character? Like,
so
and
what is his actual name?
Saruman?
Yeah. How do you spell it? I'm sorry. Do you know?
Saruman.
Okay.
This is
Because
the spelling bee.
I kept writing Solomon because I didn't know how to pronounce his actual name.
Yeah, Saruman. Because he was like, he's supposed to be like good. He's supposed to be like the leader of like the wizards and stuff like that.
I think Christopher Lee played him in such a creepy way. He was
Yeah.
so
Could you
like-
tell, Greg? Could you tell that he was going to be bad by like the way he was talking to Gandalf initially?
No, not initially.
Uh-oh.
But he changed. There was a moment where when he was saying that like the
Mhm.
ring will be taken. Like I
Yeah.
knew it because he was his eyes were
flipped.
like this. At first, he was just talking normally because I think they wanted you to think that he was actually like
A
fine.
good guy. Yeah.
And when
yeah.
Gandalf was riding there, like everything was fine. Things weren't being torn down. The sky wasn't dark. So like they didn't want you to think that.
That's true.
They-
Like that color,
Right,
that
with
color
the
change
color.
is there too.
But then like they changed his like demeanor midway through, and I was like, yeah, this guy's messed up.
Mm-hmm.
I also thought it was
creepy,
neat
too.
because Connor isn't he in the Hobbit movies as like a good guy?
He is.
Yeah, he is good in The Hobbit. Yeah.
So that is
remember
kind of neat. It is kind
He
of
was
neat.
creepy. His nails and
It really was creepy, wasn't it? And then
Yeah.
I remember one time Gandalf mentioned, I think when he was escaping, like Sauron, like there's only room for one person to have all the power.
There's only one Lord of the Ring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought that's interesting because in this movie, Saruman, is that how you say it?
Yeah, Saruman.
Yeah, he was kind of wielding all the power of sorts. Like the orcs and the goblins were like answering to him, right?
Yeah, he's
And they
like
were
the main
kind of-
bad guy in this
he was-
film, basically.
Mhm,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So I
the
thought-
next film as well, I would say. He's the main bad guy in the next
Yeah, I
film.
would say so as well. But so I thought that was kind of
Yeah. Which you
interesting.
need because Sauron is just like this eye. Like he doesn't have like this presence at
Like,
all.
you,
or
you,
like
need,
this-
well, you need a face, right? You need like
Yeah.
a face of it. Yeah.
what did you think of the fight between those two? All they did was just levitate each other.
I thought
I thought it was still entertaining. I thought it was like
it was still entertaining.
it's like two old dudes throwing each other around. Like
They're like,
I don't know.
yeah.
and also you're really rooting for Gandalf and like you don't think he's gonna lose, but then he does. You know.
So
Mhm.
Saruman,
yeah.
Yeah, Saruman.
Saruman, he's more powerful than Gandalf, obviously.
Yeah. Well,
I guess. Not after this movie, but.
what are you talking about? Gandalf's dead, right?
I know he's not dead.
Oh
wait.
What about the viewers? The
viewers.
podcast viewers.
Sorry, viewers.
After this movie, Gandalf comes back in spirit, and
He comes back in like a new form. Was more powerful than, or equally powerful to Saruman, I would say.
I was looking up his hairstyle in the second one, and I like it.
Oh, yeah.
Whiter.
I noticed he had his hair pulled back for a few scenes. in
Yes,
this
I like
movie.
that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So I also thought it was neat. Just like we got a lot of just random background information with that, which I think is cool. Just like a lot of little stuff. Like if you get stabbed by one of those wraith blades, you become one of them eventually.
Oh yeah.
I thought
That was
kind of
interesting.
Neat. Like,
Wait,
just-
is that what happened with
Frodo?
Frodo's blade? Like why it was glowing?
Oh,
Oh, that
No,
was
why
you
was
got
his
that
blade
from
glowing?
Bilbo when they were in Rivendell where the elves were, and Bilbo told him like it glows blue when orcs are near because it's an elvish sword, which all elvish swords glow blue when like orcs or goblins are near.
That's good to know because I don't catch some of the small stuff because it's like when you're watching it for like the first time.
It's
or,
a
like,
lot to take in, and you're like
you're
trying
so
to
focused
process
on
everything.
big picture plot stuff. You don't catch the tiny stuff.
Yes. So I wanted to ask you guys. So, well, actually, one more thing. When that elvish lady showed up, I think her name was Arwen. Was her name?
Yeah,
right?
Arwen. Yeah.
Yeah. Like that was cool. If you go back and look when she's running away from the wraiths, her horse is so fast. It was going at insane speeds. That horse
And it's
was
also like, you get these close-up shots, and it's like
I know.
it's like drooling. It's like so like I don't know. It's like into the running too, you know.
It was cool. I just thought it was cool. Like the whole chase thing, because like they were right there. I honestly thought she was gonna get like if I hadn't watched the movie before, I'd be like, okay, she's gonna get like captured. She's gonna get taken down.
That's a good point. I mean, some scenes like it was like she was like so close to them, but then it zoomed out and it was like that. And I was like,
yeah.
I think it's supposed to be like they're chasing her for a while, and it's like jumping through time and stuff
Right.
like that. But it is a bit startling sometimes, some of the jumps they make. And
honestly, I thought the horse was gonna give out. Her horse was going so fast for so long.
Yeah, it was. I hope they didn't like hurt the horse in the filming.
I know.
She was very confident in
Yeah.
her horse riding skills.
She was. She said she's the faster rider to Aragorn.
Yeah.
I just think that was just some good early 2000s feminism.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, there you go.
I
remember.
It's unfortunate though, because speaking of that, Greg, she gets Frodo there, and she like calls upon like the water or whatever to like take out the ring wraiths, and it's like pretty cool and stuff. But then after that, she doesn't really have much to do throughout the rest of the series.
Yeah.
And like neither do any women for that matter. I mean, in the next movie, there's the other girl.
Yeah.
But Arwen kind of gets like sidelined after this, which I mean, I know they have a lot of characters to work with. But that's just like that's one disappointment I have.
And Arwen also, I mean, like with her relationship with Aragorn, like you know what her role was going to be.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, that scene. Okay, I love this movie.
That was I wrote that was the slowest scene. Yeah.
Yeah, when they're like talking to each other, and she's like, "It's mine to give to whom I will, like my heart." I'm like, "Oh my." Let's just get back on the road again. Like, let's get back to the
I wrote the same thing. I wrote I think I wrote something about how that was a slow scene, but I also wrote that it was necessary. Like in order to have
I just wish it wasn't so cliche. You know, it was pretty cliche.
I know. Yeah, they could have done the actual dialogue in the scene better.
Yeah,
I would agree. But they did need like a scene like that because of Aragorn and Arwen, like in the third movie, I think. Right?
Yeah, they did need that scene. What do you think of that scene, Greg?
Yeah, Greg. So wait, Greg, I have a question. What was like the slowest part of the movie, or like the slowest like, storyline? Was there anything that stood out in regards to?
I got really bored in the part by the river near the end, like the lake.
Wait, what part?
Really, the end when they went by the lake, Connor.
Yeah, I didn't get bored. I was just like, it was just slower for me.
You have to be like more specific. Like you mean before the final fight or after?
No, when Frodo is like taking the boat across the lake, and his
I know.
Are you kidding me? I'm gonna hang up right now. That is literally the best scene in movie history.
Oh no.
Sorry.
Are you joking?
It's not joking.
Greg, he's standing there. He's contemplating this huge decision he has to make to leave his friends, and the music swells. By the way, the music. I'll get back to that.
I found it slow.
And he's like holding the ring, and then he imagines Gandalf. And okay,
no, Gandalf.
And when he imagines Gandalf, it's different than the actual scene. It's like he's recalling it from his memory the same way we would. Like it's slightly different. Gandalf's like positioning in the words, or like, because in the actual scene he's like, all we have to do is decide with what to do with the time that is given to us. And like when Frodo remembers it, he's like, all you have to do, and he's like, it's like directed to Frodo.
Oh,
like,
actually, now that I think about it, that line back in the movie, thank you for mentioning that. That line by Gandalf was my favorite part of the movie.
Really? I can totally understand that. But let me get back to the scene on the river, because he doesn't even stand there for that long. Then he gets in the boat, and he's going away, and Sam's like coming, and he's like, Frodo. And Frodo's like, no, Sam. And Sam comes after him anyways, even though he can't swim. He's that dedicated to him. And you're telling me you were bored through that? And when Frodo saves his life?
You expect me to just give that scene pity because he saved someone's life?
And he's like, oh, pity, what? No.
Like, you expect me to like just all of a sudden say, yes, that was my favorite part in the movie just because of that?
I mean, it doesn't have to be your favorite part in the movie, but are you telling me that that's when you were bored?
That was the slowest sequence.
Here's what I'm telling you, that you weren't bored. You were just tired of the movie because you had been watching it for 3 hours. That's what's going on here.
It could be.
And Greg, so during that scene, at what point, what were the emotions in your head?
I was just bored on that whole them just.
That scene makes me cry every time.
Were you bored?
Yeah, okay, here's the thing. I wasn't emotionally invested. So, sorry. I know it didn't really do it for me. It just.
I made a promise, Mr. Frodo. Don't you leave him, Samwise Gamgee. And I don't mean
and I'll
to.
keep my promise.
Yeah.
I seriously, I don't know why. Like, maybe I was just exhausted by the end, but it's just like I didn't feel that emotional like connection to the character. I felt, I don't know. This whole movie is about companionship. That's what this whole movie is about, and that's why that scene is so important at the end when Sam's like, "I'm not gonna leave you," because it's Frodo, and you can see that Frodo's been grappling with the decision to leave everyone else since they visited the elves in I know how important it is. I just
the elves in the woods, right?
Yeah, because remember he's talking to her, and she's like, to the elf lady, and she's like, you know, and he's like, I know what I must do, but I'm not sure if I can do it or something. I don't know exactly. He says something like that, you know.
Because I think he offered the ring to her.
Yeah.
And she's like, you're actually offering me the ring? Like, she was very surprised. And then she showed him what she could do if she had the ring, which I thought was cool. I thought the best part of the movie was just every scene surrounding the ring. I thought was the best part of the movie. Just watching people's reactions and like how it draws everyone in different ways and different variants.
I like that a lot too.
That was my favorite. Like
in the music, like back to the music. Like there's a theme for the ring. You know, that's like. Da, na, da, na, 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 na.
I think so. I mean, I'll have to.
And there's a theme for the Fellowship too, and like each specific, there's a ton of like motifs and whatnot.
Yeah, see, I was a fan of the music. I liked the music. I wasn't impressed with it.
Wow.
I liked it. I liked it a lot. I
thought the best is disliking it to dislike it.
I just expected
more.
I guess even more from like a movie like this.
Wow. I thought the best song was the
more
Shire.
Variety. I expected more variety.
Oh, okay, Greg. What about that song when they're like they set off from Rivendell and they're like all 9 of them together and they're like walking over the rock in slow motion. It's like epic music. You remember that part, Ryan?
I think so, but I'm just saying the song that I keep remembering is the song from the Shire. That's the song that always comes back to me. That's just I don't know. That's the song that comes back to me most. But Connor, that part, I think I remember that. I think so. When they're all leaving Rivendell, was it?
Yeah, and it's like ba 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 ba.
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
No, like okay, great. I just thought there'd be more variety.
Interesting. I felt like there's a ton of variety.
Well, I thought they did a really good job. I don't know about you, Connor, but I thought they did a really good job matching. And I guess every movie should strive for this, but I thought they did a near perfect job in this movie of matching like the perfect like music with the emotion that they want to try to evoke from the audience.
Yeah.
Because like, that music helped dictate like, okay, like we all join together. It's upbeat. Like we have a fighting hope. Like it was like for me, that's what I thought.
Yeah. What you just said there makes me think of the scene where Boromir dies and it's like all kind of evil music because it's like they're all running towards him and then he gets shot and it's like all other sounds fade away and it's just like that kind of sad like melancholy.
I thought, by the way, I thought his death scene might have been, I think it was one of the best like 2 or 3 scenes in the entire movie.
Yeah, I think that might be my favorite part, Boromir's death scene.
I think the favorite
part was the part where you cried at the lake when they...
Oh, I didn't say that was my favorite part. I'm just saying that that's the best scene. It's not my favorite part. It's just the best scene.
But yeah, I thought his death scene was amazing. I don't know what you guys thought. I know Connor.
I think that was one of the best scenes.
You think so, Greg?
Yeah, just like the way
he gets shot. He keeps
fighting.
But then he gets shot again, and you think he's going down. He starts going down, and then he
And I'm a
sees.
huge-
I think he sees Pippin and Mary. Is that who he saw?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And they're looking at him, and he looks at them, and then he gets up and he keeps fighting. I just thought that was so good.
And then once
Yeah.
he gets shot a third time, Pippin and Mary are like, they pick up swords and they just like run in. And,
yeah.
And I'm a
That
huge
was
Sean Bean fan too. Like I love him. Like I love his
Yes.
just
But you know he's
Yeah.
gonna. You know he's gonna die, and everything is in. It's just a matter
He
of
is
when.
he's a great character, Boromir, because like he has this arc that's like, you know, he's a good guy, but he's like so tempted by the ring, and then in the end he redeems himself. You know, I think he's one of the best characters of the Fellowship. You know, he's better than Merry and Pippin.
I wish he died in the second movie. I wish we got a few more scenes with him.
Why does he always die in the first installment of everything?
I know.
If you watch the extended editions, there's Boromir scenes, more Boromir scenes in this movie, and also in the second movie, you get to see some of like,
Really?
like with his brother, you get to see some of their relationship and whatnot. Because I don't know if you remember, but
Yeah.
his brother was always jealous of him because their father loved Boromir more than he loved Faramir. So it's an interesting dynamic. But I mean, I wouldn't recommend watching that if it's your first time viewing Lord of the Rings.
I remember his brother. His brother was like he did a good job as well.
And like, and you have to remember, like, forgive me, like, if I like say some things you disagree with, but it's like I don't have
It's
like
okay.
no connection to this movie. Remember, like, I've only
Well,
seen.
I have a question for you,
So-
though, Greg. It's like, why didn't you have that emotional connection? Like, why didn't you feel like
No, when I
attached
say-
to
when I
Frodo and
When I
like
say I
Sam?
don't have the emotional connection, I say like I don't have the nostalgia. Like I've seen this like once. Like you've been watching it like your whole life.
Sure.
Right, but
But
still,
why-
like,
let
but
me
at
ask
the
you.
end, like, why didn't you feel like invested in Frodo's journey and Sam's relationship with him at the
I
end?
don't know. I feel like because it was just kind of like, gosh, I'm gonna get like attacked for this, but like I just felt like it was kind of like stock like hero's journey stuff, like packaged, just kind of like predictable. I mean,
Really?
again, like I don't know. I
Question.
don't know what it is. Like maybe if I grew up watching this movie and like all
Wait.
the movies, reading the books.
Wait, you
like,
mean like you knew that Frodo was gonna leave them?
that? I mean no, not like that. But like I don't know. I wasn't. You asked why I wasn't invested like emotionally like the whole
Yeah.
time. I think it was just because I just kind of like just kept like seeing what was gonna happen. Like, oh yeah, he's gonna have to go on this journey. Like, yeah, he's gonna do this, and they're gonna have to fight people. You
Yeah,
know,
Connor, I think what he's saying is it's a very, from his perspective, it's a very classic, like, all right, we gotta bring this guy from point A to point B, and throughout this whole time, we're going on a journey, and we're
Yeah.
gonna fight, and, you know,
I mean,
and
I think-
we're all not gonna, all the main characters, we're not gonna die, but, I mean, some of them did. Some of them did, so I would,
Well, I think that
I just think that's a little too, I think that's a little too general, but, Greg, I have a
Yeah.
question. What, if there was a character in this movie, like what character in this movie like did you have the biggest connection to if you had to choose one? Was there one that you cared about at all? Like was there one that you felt like
I mean, it sounds lame, but Bilbo. Like
okay.
I really like.
that's because you are Bilbo, Greg.
By the way, Bilbo was cool. I liked Bilbo in this movie. It was
Yeah,
really
old
good.
Bilbo's cool.
He
It's really
just-
sad. He just died, that actor, too.
Yeah, I remember
He's
seeing
cute. He's
that.
so
That's,
cute.
Yeah.
But it's just I don't know, like just like his like he was very just besides when he was like talking about the ring, like oh my god.
so angry he looked when they were in Rivendell when he
No,
was
they made him
talking-
like a,
Yeah.
like a
I
goblin.
know they
Yeah.
did.
No, I had to rewind because I was like, wait, what was that?
Also,
Greg,
he
I
aged like
wanna-
20 years.
I want to address Greg's like viewpoint that it's kind of like run of the mill, kind of like a story.
Here
which
we
is
go.
that like this story was written like I want to say 60 years ago, 70 years ago, and it was like one of the first stories like this, you know what I mean? It was before Star Wars, before Harry Potter. This Harry Potter actually borrows a lot from Lord of the Rings. Like
Right.
this bad guy that returns, and like there's this one like hero that can do it, and there's a lot more similarities.
And that's
that
the
we-
problem though. I think that's the problem. I think it's
But
because
that's not a problem with Lord of the Rings.
no, I
you
think
know?
it's a problem for me because they just, in my opinion, they just do it better. They did it better. They added more elements. Like And like,
I'm gonna pretend you didn't say that Harry Potter did it better than Lord of the Rings.
I think they did.
All right, we're gonna have to agree to disagree.
And you know what?
You have nostalgia for Harry Potter, okay?
I do. Big nostalgia, and that's part of the problem because I didn't grow up watching this. It's like the first time, and I have this to compare to. I compare this to Harry Potter, compare this to Star Wars, and all the stuff that I'm like emotionally been investing my whole adult life and my whole childhood.
Wait, this is completely different though. The world that they're in, and a lot of the different details. Like this also has different themes and stuff that it explores.
I feel like you're on the
don't.
I think you're on the edge of your seat a lot more in these movies than Harry Potter.
Yeah.
With the exception of the last couple Harry Potter movies where it was pretty suspenseful. I just feel like in these movies, especially this one and the third one.
I think it comes down to setting for me. Like
really,
it comes down to setting and like interest. Like
I definitely agree with you.
You guys know that like my passion's like education. I want to be an educator. I want to be like like in a school setting eventually. Mm-hmm. And so I see that in Harry Potter, like with Hogwarts and like friends bonding and like relationships with teachers and like just the overall school experience. And that's where it takes place. Here, like in this movie, like I just wasn't really that into the settings. Like I didn't all these random like places with all these like random like sets with the cheesy like that's a side note. But like, I know it's 2001, but
you're telling me that Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone doesn't have some cheesy bits in there?
No, it does. I'm just saying,
Sorcerer's Stone,
but it was mostly Hogwarts, so that's the thing. Like there was kind of consistency. Like I didn't like the constant like changing of like the scenes.
That's something that I did like. So I mean, I guess it is kind of personal preference in that way.
Sure,
but this is yeah. I guess because we're just gonna have to agree to disagree.
Well, but I feel like you have to at least. You can agree to disagree on, who likes what settings more, who likes what atmospheres more, because, that comes down to, like, genre preference, right? Or, like, what you just enjoy watching more. So, I mean, it makes sense. But what I think is, like, this movie, at least this movie, like, I feel like it does a better job than pretty much every Harry Potter movie in terms of, like, bringing out a variant of emotions.
Also,
like a variant of emotions. Just,
I agree.
How many different feelings you have throughout this whole movie. I just feel like you're in Harry Potter, and they either don't bring out that many different emotions, or if they do, I feel like it's very just like classic, like dark, evil. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Like this is very classic, dark. Evil.
Oh, I think this is much more complex. Like especially as you get into like the second and third movies, like Frodo, especially as a character, and like his internal struggle.
I did the second and third movies.
But even here you can see it.
The
Fellowship of the Ring.
But Greg, even here you can see it. Like he changes so much. Even Frodo changes so much in this film alone.
Could you at least see the difference between Frodo at the beginning and the end of the movie?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah. Of course. But it's like, I mean, I did, and I like that, and I like there is dynamic. Like the characters are like they're not static. I mean, which is good. Like they are like fluid characters. Like yeah, it's just overall like. The bigger things, like just kind of like the setting, is just personal preference. Like, don't know what else to say.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
so
okay.
I also thought the CGI was fantastic for 01.
Yeah.
I thought it was really good.
It was really good, and also
I think it was just as good as the Star Wars in '70.
I think he's saying no, Ryan. What he's saying is like. How good Star Wars was in the 70s, that's how good this was for 2001.
Yeah,
like
that's
Star
what
Wars
I'm saying. As I was laughing at your
reaction. He wasn't saying that it's the same quality as the Star Wars 70s. I was saying, like,
special effects. It's like if you were to sit in a movie theater in 2001 and watch that, you'd be like, whoa. Just like you were like that.
But I feel like you could watch this in the theater now and be like, this is decent CGI.
No.
Yeah.
The CGI was...
No.
I've seen worse CGI today at some moments.
Greg, okay, you're going to tell me that they didn't do a fantastic job with the proportions of like the hobbits to like the actual people. Like you couldn't tell in one scene that what's his name, Elijah Wood, and like
I forget
who plays Sam. Like
I'm talking more green screen work.
I know, but I'm
Really?
just saying that like what are you talking about like specifically?
Like there was some like just some of the rocks falling or like that sort of stuff. Not necessarily the people and characters. I'm talking
The
about
only time where I noticed green screen was like really stood out to me is the scene where they're trying to escape from the Balrog and they're like on the staircase and Aragorn and Frodo are like falling towards.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that's the only time where I was like, okay, that's a green screen right
but
there.
even when you saw Gandalf like standing and fighting that demon, like that seemed that was
Yeah.
pretty decent. That was
Yeah.
pretty good. I thought. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right.
It was fine. I
And
mean,
also,
I
there
wasn't
were
blown
no
away.
action scenes just for the sake of action. Like they were all to progress the story forward too.
And
you know
the
what I
action
mean?
scenes weren't drawn out too long either. Like if you
Yeah,
notice, the
and they
action
were always
scenes,
dynamic and changing and stuff like that, which he
Mhm.
kept you engaged.
No, I would agree. I do. I'm trying to think of something that I wasn't a fan of. What was I not a fan of? I thought because I've been saying only good things. I need to say something that's not good.
I mean,
I thought
I
that
can.
Gandalf when he was captured.
Yeah.
I thought we just had him like sitting up there for like the Mordor sequences were a little bit slow in the middle. I thought maybe like it was
Yeah.
just like we got to see like the ogres or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah,
that-
I mean,
The goblins
Was
and the
that
orcs.
Was that Spire? You talk about Gandalf being like trapped. Was that Spire supposed to replicate his staff? Because
you mean the tower that he's on?
yeah,
That's just where Saruman lives.
Yeah.
no, but it looks exactly like his staff. Like the
Oh, it
top.
looks like Saruman's staff.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, it does look like Saruman's staff.
Then that would make sense.
I like that.
They did have a lot of attention to detail with props and stuff too.
They did, and I like the props a lot. I love the swords, like the hilts, and like, or I guess what is it called on a sword? A hilt? Like
Yeah,
a hilt. I like the staffs.
Mm-hmm.
I like that sort of stuff. Like I really am into props, and that prop is like if I were in the movie, like industry and stuff, like I'd really like want to be like
And the costumes too.
in costume props and costumes.
It really immerses you in the world. Like you can tell that they all put a lot of passion and effort into creating this kind of different land and stuff.
I also wanted to point out like one quick about Frodo. I thought it was so. I don't know if you noticed this, either of you, but when Gandalf died, I just thought there was such a change in Frodo
Yes.
from then on. Like he just, I feel like you could just see
because
how
I think that's
he
the
just broke. I thought
that's the point where he realizes like, oh, like people are dying. Like I need to go and do this by myself, maybe. You know.
maybe.
Yeah, but also I felt like Gandalf was kind of like a portal like to his like uncle too. Like there was a connection.
Yeah,
there.
Gandalf was like.
He represented like a presence of his uncle because like they had that whole like
Maybe.
experience together and like he knew about it. He didn't know all the details, but like
yeah,
he knew, like there was like that history there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I also when was it Boromir when he was trying to get the ring from Frodo when that whole scene happened? I thought that was good, but when Frodo turned invisible. I thought, because I didn't remember how Boromir died, I thought Frodo was gonna like kill him or something.
Oh, what?
Yeah, I thought Frodo was gonna like turn a corner or something, you know? Because I know, especially in 3, and I guess a little bit in 2, but especially in 3, like you can see like he really like loses like all emotion for like other people for the most part. Like especially like you see it with Sam, right?
Yeah.
So I thought maybe like this is like Boromir's just kind of like egging him on, like it's like progressing him faster, but no, he didn't.
No.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I didn't remember. But
that is a good scene though when Boromir like turns on him because it's like the dialogue is pretty natural and you're like it starts off as they're just kind of like having a conversation and it turns into like Boromir attacking him, you know.
Mm-hmm. Also, can I ask why did the Gondor horn blow again during that last fight?
Oh, he was just calling for help basically.
Oh, okay. Because I thought like all of Gondor was coming in. I was like, okay.
No.
I was like, oh, it's just him. Okay.
Yeah. Can I? There's one other like scene that I want to talk to you guys about, which is the Council of Elrond scene, where all like talking about what they're gonna do with the ring. What did you guys think of that scene?
I thought it was one of the best. I thought it was really cool seeing all the characters in one place, and you got to see like I don't know. I just thought it was really neat seeing everyone stand up for Frodo as well. Like when they all
like pledge yourself to him
and like the whole like unity thing. I thought that was really neat. Yeah. I don't know, Greg.
I like that scene. It was pretty cool. Like I did like that scene.
Also, when Frodo like they're all like arguing, and Frodo's like, "I will take it," and like it shows like he has this courage within him. You know.
Yes, but I will say I think the head elf and Gandalf kind of both knew, and the head elf kind of wanted Frodo to be the one to
Well,
take
he
it.
want and
Yeah, I
Gandalf
said
didn't
that.
want
He
Frodo
knew
to do it,
he-
which is why he like sighed once Frodo said that. He's like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, like he knew. Yeah, he knew it was.
I
gonna
sense that too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So I thought that was neat. And then I thought it was also. I will agree with Greg. This was kind of a little classic thing when you have Frodo and like you have each of these groups going off on their own adventures at the end. Like it's all right. Now we're on to the sequel where each of us
Yeah.
have our own paths.
Kind of like Empire Strikes Back a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. But I mean, I wouldn't really fault that to the movie because I feel like every movie that makes multiple has to do that, right?
Yeah,
You
no,
have-
I'm not
Yeah.
faulting the movie for that. I'm just saying, like,
And I think it gets you invested too. Like I was genuinely excited for the next movie. Like when you see them like running off at the end, and then and Aragorn's like, "Let's hunt some orc." You're like, "Yeah, I want to see them save Merry."
Yeah,
Pippin,
I
you
did think
know?
it was cool how there's like a juxtaposition between the two like groups, right? Because you have the three of them who are going to fight orcs, and like you get to watch a lot of fun fighting.
Yeah.
And then you have like Sam and Frodo who have to like it's a very like hard like difficult path, and like they don't fight, right? They just have to like hide, and
Yeah.
like it's like emotionally straining. I thought it was like
Yeah.
it's cool like the differences between like
Mhm.
those two groups and stuff.
yeah, I agree.
I don't
Greg,
know.
who was your favorite member of the Fellowship?
I do love Gandalf, but yeah, I mean probably him, just because like
Mm.
you know I'm a sucker for like those wise characters. Like I just love like the wise.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What
You know?
about? Did you like Aragorn? Because I think he's a pretty good character too.
He's
'Cause
a
you can-
bearded, red beard guy, right?
Yeah, he's the guy
No.
who's like struggling. Not yeah, Greg
Brown
saw
hair.
not Sean Bean.
No.
Yeah, the other guy, the other man.
Yeah.
Yeah. He has some red in his beard, just a little bit.
Oh.
Yeah.
But you can see like he's struggling with his like identity, like should he be king and whatnot too. I
Yeah.
don't
No.
know.
Yeah, I like him too. He's kind of like gentle a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
which is kind of
He's like the father of the group, sort of. You know.
right. Every group's kind of a father. No, yeah, I liked it. I mean, yeah, like yeah, I like the characters a lot.
Yeah.
Like
The
they were
characters are they're
dynamic.
great. What do you think of the characters, Ryan? Or which character is your favorite? Which Fellowship character?
Which Fellowship characters? So that's like is that like the people on like the council or what is that?
That's like the 9 people who went off
Yeah.
with them. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I feel like the easy answer is Aragorn
Yeah.
because he's like I would say he's most people's favorite towards at the end.
Mhm.
But I always like is it Legolas? Legolas?
Oh, Legolas. Yeah.
Yeah, I
He's
thought
cool.
I just
Yeah.
like him because he's very
Yeah.
quiet, but
He and Gimli get like a less attention in this film because
Yeah, they do,
they're
they
not
do.
there.
they get more
But-
attention than the next two, and they start counting the kills like
Yeah.
during the fights. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's fun.
And
I
they're
like
also
that.
like, but you do kind of get like a little bit of foreshadowing of their relationship. Like they don't really like each other and stuff like that. So
Okay. Yeah, I think he's really cool. So it'd be either him or Aragorn. I mean, Aragorn is awesome, but
yeah.
I like Legolas too. Yeah, I don't know. What about you? Who's your favorite? You had to choose one of all those.
Well, if we're taking just this movie into consideration, never mind. The overall, it's just Sam. It's always Sam because Sam is like the heart and soul of like the whole trilogy. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And even in this movie, he is, always there. He's always loyal, and he always like, just says what's on his mind and like in his heart, basically, which I think is, everybody wants to have a Sam with them. Everyone wants a Sam to their Frodo, but we should all just strive to be Sam. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think Sam's awesome too. Sam, I think he got less attention in this movie.
He did,
than I
but he
remember.
was still, you could see the loyalty that was
Oh,
there.
Love the loyalty. Yeah, he's a great character.
Yeah, and in the second, and especially the third one, he's fantastic. I think he
Yeah.
might be the best character in the third movie.
I think it's a very good lesson for kids to like see that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
respect
he's
that
awesome.
movie.
Yeah,
I
I would
respect
agree.
that. I respect this for the movie for like that kind of like those values. Like it kind of
Yeah.
really shows that well.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, I'd agree. I don't know if Connor, do you have anything else you want to talk about, or?
Well, I'll just tell you quickly the things that I don't like that much about this
Okay,
movie.
yeah, I want to hear it. Yeah.
I don't really like like I said, that scene with Arwen and Aragorn. I think it's a bit cliche.
Okay.
And I also think that the scene, like once they get to the it's called the woods, when they get to the woods after Gandalf dies, I think it gets a little bit slow there. I think those scenes are necessary for especially for Boromir and Frodo's like character developments. Because like especially when like Galadriel like looks at Boromir and like looks away and stuff. But I think that those scenes are a little bit slow, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are the only two things that I don't.
I also wish they mentioned the trees more in this movie. They mentioned them briefly when they were tearing them. Remember when Saruman was destroying them?
What was that for?
It's because the trees can fight. Some of them.
Yeah, well.
So the trees, some of the trees can walk at least deep in the. They go into that later,
Yeah.
but I think that's why they were doing that. Am I wrong? Or they're just getting it actually for wood?
Well, I think they were trying to use it for wood, but I think that like
the trees took it offensively.
I think they were also just trying to clear a way for them to like build their war
stuff
factory. Yeah.
Okay.
I did like that too. Like when you get to see all the orcs building like their weapons and stuff like that. That was cool. Yeah.
That was kind of neat. I thought it was nasty when you saw that like orc like.
Oh yeah, when they're like making.
They made the orc.
Yeah.
That was disgusting. Yeah, actually, that was gross.
That was nasty. Yeah, actually. But yeah, no, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think this is a really, really good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's great.
I mean, if there's, I don't know if we want. I want to hear what Greg would give this movie.
Yeah.
Rating. I want to hear what you would give it, Greg.
So.
And just a short, why?
Yeah, just a short why.
At the end of the day, I gave the other movie. I think I gave Iron Man 82. No, 84. I think maybe 86.
No, you gave it 80. You gave it 80. Didn't you give it 82?
It was like 82.
What did you give it, Ryan?
I gave it 86, and you gave it 89, Connor.
Yeah.
Oh, I did give it 82. And I gave The Irishman like an 86.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna give this movie. I'm thinking around like a.
Oh.
You heard the S. I'm gonna give it a 70.
Superb? Is that what you're gonna say? That's what you're gonna say, right?
I'm gonna give this movie a 76.
So almost as bad as The Maze Runner.
A little better than The Maze Runner.
I'm actually gonna go cry.
Dude, this is why you can't choose movies like this, because they're just too touchy.
Okay, but no, give us your explanation though.
I just want to. So why?
I give it a C plus because I guess that's a C. It's a C. I give it a C because, for the reasons I said, like, what I really like about it was that, like, there's the bonds, there's the loyalty, like, that's really cool. Like, I love that. But then I just felt like it was just kind of like stock, like, hero's journey sort of stuff. Like, just kind of like what you expect, I do like the other outside effects that we were talking about. Love like the other elements. Like, I do like the ring dynamic. Except I just think it's kind of like it's a little weak, slightly. So I know I wish there was a little more with the ring. Well, I just felt like I don't know. I wish we could have heard a little more about what's the ring's wielder again?
Huh?
Sauron?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish we could just like heard a little more about him. I love the acting, love the costumes, love the props. Some of the backgrounds, as I said, like I was just kind of like some of the effects for 2001, they're good. But yeah, so I give it a 76.
Wow. A 76, folks. He just gave Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring a 76%. Okay. I guess I'll go because I think Connor should end it on his movie. I didn't think there was much wrong with this movie. For me, I told Connor before we got on here that I thought that even though this movie was 25 minutes shorter than The Irishman, I thought it went by twice as fast. Like, I thought the 3 hours flew by a lot faster than The Irishman did. Not that The Irishman was bad, but just because it was a lot slower. This wasn't even that fast. It wasn't even like super, super fast paced, but I just feel like they kept me engaged the whole time. and there was like I just really think the music was just fantastic, which I think helped a lot. I thought the CGI was ahead of its time. I still think I still really think it can hold up for the most part today, which is crazy. Story's really engaging. The acting isn't like amazing, but it doesn't need to be because the story's so it's so deep and it's so spread out throughout this whole world, and it's just so much to learn. It's so cool. So I thought I'd give it a 93 because it was a little slow sometimes, and I don't want to give it like a 90, like a super high score. Yeah, I'll give it 93. I think that's
a pretty good score.
Yeah,
it's a solid A.
I think that's the highest rating I've given thus far. So yeah,
it's the highest rating of the show so far. I think.
I don't think
we've
so.
had anything in the 90s.
I'm gonna make a sticky note with my ratings.
Okay,
that's a good idea.
That's a very good idea, actually. Yeah. So I don't know, Connor. What I know you've watched the movie a lot, so
yeah, I have seen it a lot.
Yeah. So I mean, what would you give it? I'm sure you have a good idea.
Yeah. Well, I agree with a lot of what Ryan said. I like the music is great. I listen to the music on the daily. I think that it looks great. It does keep you engaged the whole time. I know it's a long movie, but I love almost every part of it. There are a couple parts that I felt were a little bit slow or unneeded.
A few.
But I think that and I mean, you said the acting isn't amazing, but I think that Elijah Wood and Ian McKellen, Sean Bean, Sean Astin, even Viggo Mortensen, I think they all really brung it, and they you could feel the emotion with their characters and whatnot. And I think the emotion is really what makes this movie for me, because you're going on this journey with Frodo, and even from the beginning of this film to the end of this film, you start off in this world and it's so happy and stuff, and then at the end it's not super dark and depressing, but it's this is a serious thing, and I'm here with you, Frodo, and I want to see it through to the end. It's almost like you're Sam when you're watching this movie. You don't want Frodo to leave and go by himself, so you're with him as he's going after him in the boat and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it explores themes of friendship and of good and evil, and does it in a really kind of respectful and kind of subtle way that you don't even realize that you're learning about these things because it's so entertaining. Yeah, it's so entertaining. And also it's just moving how far these characters are willing to go to stop evil, basically. You know what I mean? And that's what we should be trying to do. I know evil isn't as clear in our daily lives as it is in this film, but
very much there.
That's basically what it's trying to say. And I would probably give this movie a 98%.
There you go.
That's what I'd give it.
There you go. Wow. You know what? This doesn't mean much, but I'm putting it at 94 instead of 93. I know it's only a 1% difference.
I'll put it at 77 instead of 76.
Yes, Greg. We love it. We love to see it.
There we go. C+, folks. There you go. All right. Yeah. I mean, unless you have any quick final thoughts.
You make a good point. You just brought up. Sorry. You just brought up something good that I forgot to talk about, and that I forgot to actually consider when discussing this movie. The themes of good and evil. I think I have to give it more credit for that. And I don't know, just a lesson that it should teach us. So I'm gonna give it an 80.
All right, I'll take it, Greg. I'll take it.
There you go.
Just for the life over the life the life wise lessons that Gandalf gives, we should enjoy the present, or take the present and use it for good, and to fight evil and to do good. You know what? So yeah,
there we go.
81.
I like it,
Beautiful.
Greg. I like
it's
it.
Beautiful.
Alrighty. So there you go. I mean, that about wraps it up right there.
We'll be back next week, I think, with a movie of Ryan's choosing is what I'm being told.
Yes,
that's what the little man in my ear is telling me right now.
It's TBD, to be determined, but I've got some ideas in mind. So I hope everyone's back next week to listen to some talking about it. It's gonna be a fantastic movie. Okay, I only picked the best, so it'll be it'll be a good one.
We'll see about that.
Well, yeah. I mean, thanks again for watching, and we'll see you again.
Have a fantastic day
next week.
Yeah.
Yes.
Happy quarantine.